personally, I wanted to win the summer games in 2021 just to meet him because that was back when we were all on Zoom, and he seemed really cool, and I wanted to meet him. So I won that tournament specifically for that, and I went and met him, and I think he's amazing. Me personally, he helps out. He's not just a director or somebody up there. If you ever reach out to him, he always responds. He always gets you what you need. And he's very successful at what he does in BNI. I want to be more like him in a lot of areas. So that's his true passion is BNI, and we're excited to have him. So let's welcome Spencer.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Had the opportunity to talk with your leadership team and said, okay, what do we really want to talk about today? Because there's lots of topics that we can talk about. Specifically, one of the things that we wanted to talk about from their point of view was our weekly presentations, which we just finished. So my question is, how are we doing in your estimation as our weekly presentations go around the room? How do you think we're doing? I'm seeing some, okay. So why not better? What does it take to do a better weekly presentation? Preparation, training, practice, being specific. So let's take that topic for starts, okay? When it comes to being specific, how many people today mentioned a specific name of a referral that they would like to have? There's your visitor who just said 3. I will agree, there is 1 star there, there's 1 star there, and 1 star there. There are 3. Just to know that it's not just me, that's a visitor in the room who's taking note and only got to write down 3 of them as well. So that means there's more opportunity. Would you agree? I have been to chapters, and they are very good at this, where 60 to 70% of the room will name an exact name of an introduction that they want to have. Now, if we have 61 members here and a couple of others that are here, how many would that be on a regular basis? How many? 36. That's less than half. What about 60 to 70%?
45.
There you go. In the 40s, right? 40 compared to 3 is a big difference. So let's talk about how we do that, okay? There's lots of ways. But the first one is realizing, I think it's really important for all of us to understand what a weekly presentation is not. So then we can actually get what it is. My watch is going to start talking to me. So what is a presentation not to include? Anybody have some ideas? Sales. So,
You're not selling to us, you're trying to educate.
so we're not selling? Is Pete right?
Yes, we're informing.
We're informing. What's the difference? Educating?
Uh-oh, something's wrong. Please try again.
I got to stop it from talking. It thinks I'm raising my arm. What does he mean by we're not selling to the room? Is that true?
Yes.
So you're promoting to the room but not selling. So what does that look like? I hope you're thinking in your mind. You don't have to say them all out loud. I just hope you're thinking to yourself, did I sell today? Did the words that came out of my mouth, was that for others in the room? Or is that for finding people outside of here? Because there's a big difference. Would you agree? It's subtle, but it's a big difference when it comes down to it of whether or not you're actually selling. So if you're telling us about a promotion that's going on, what is that? Is that selling to the room?
No.
It could be informing. If you have a reason for us to go out to find someone else rather than inside the room. What happens, by the way? It's got like real quiet and everybody's like, I'm not sure I want to talk now. What happens if you sell to the room?
You're limiting yourself.
How?
If there's only so many people in the room, then aren't.
Yeah, you get 60 people. And once you've sold them or ticked them off, one or the other, you're done, right? So then you got to move on beyond. And we've all met people who've come into the room, have an idea that, man, if I could just get half this room to do business with me, I'd be pretty dang good. At 30 new people, this would be great. And then they leave within 6 months because they didn't get enough of those 30 people that they thought they would get. How many people should you expect to get in this room to do business with you? I'm seeing a 0 over there. That's what I think. Now, why in the world would we come to a place that we want to get business from and expect to get $0 from the people in the room? Because it's your marketing team. This is your greatest marketing opportunity in your business, not your greatest sales opportunity in your business. So on a weekly basis, are you giving your marketing team the right words to go out and use? That's what you want to think about in your weekly presentation. So, a few things that you also don't want to include. That was only one thing so far that we talked about we don't want to include. One of the things that we don't want to include is more than one topic, more than one thing. If you use the word also, if you use the word and, if you use the word anybody, these are not specific and they are not helpful for us. So, another one that I wrote down, this is kind of funny. This is on the not, but on the do, right? So this is, we were talking about what do we not want to do. This is something that we do want to do, and that is to smile. Why? A positive attitude. How many of you laughed at some point while he was talking this morning? Right? Do you want to do business and find business for him? Why? Because he's smiling and he's happy. If you're not happy, lie to your face. Right? Figure out a way for you to go, oh my gosh, I need to tell my face I'm happy. Fake it, and then you will find out that you can smile and it makes it better. All right? The other thing it makes it do is it actually makes people smile back. If you want to see people deadpan-faced, be deadpan-faced and be monotone. Because I can promise you, if I sat here without, it's really hard for me not to smile. If I tried not to smile and I had a very monotone voice, none of you would smile back at me and none of you would be engaged in what I had to say. But instead, I can be like JoJo the Idiot Circus Boy and be like, ha-ha, and be fun. And people are like, this dude's a nut, right? But they're all smiling going, wow, I think I can learn something, right? So smile. It makes a big difference. It changes the tone of your voice. Even if you're on the phone, if you're on a Zoom call, you smile, it changes the situation. You only got 30 seconds to fake it on your face. Do it anyway, right? So try that out. Okay, here's the thing. A weekly presentation in when we train in our advanced trainings that we do and as we go through Member Success Program, we say specifically that a weekly presentation is your plan of action for the week. How many of you, what you stood up and gave 30 seconds today was a weekly plan of action for your marketing team to go take action on? 3 of you so far, right? Because you have an actual plan. Here's who I want to meet. Here's how I want to be introduced. That's a plan of action that we can do something with. Now, some of you, and by the way, I am going to get like personal on a few of you. Don't take it wrong, okay? This is all for all of us to get education. If you want to come sucker punch me after, I'm totally okay with that. We can have a conversation. But I'm not here to like pull your pants down and say, ha, 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 you're silly, right? That's not what it's about. What I'm here to do is give us examples of how to get better. So some that were right on the pathway to get us there, but could do a little bit more to get specific, to give us a weekly plan of action. Specifically, Dawn. Dawn, you asked for mortgage and realtors, right? So how many of you know mortgage or realtors? Raise your hand. Okay. Pretty much everyone in the room. But how many of you thought of an exact name and wrote it down on her line on 17 today? Absolutely this many, right? Why? What's the difference? She asked for people that you all know. Why didn't you write one down? It wasn't specific enough. So you want to have it. Now, I just said a moment ago, and this is for everybody, it's not her. I've got several others I wrote down. We'll see if we get to those too. But and was used. Mortgage and realtors. Well, if you start with mortgage, we might start to think of somebody. But then when you end the and, now all of a sudden it brings in a whole nother group of people. And now we go, I don't know who to write down, right? So here's the thing to think about. As you prepare your weekly presentation, by the way, how much time do we spend preparing for them? How much time should we, I don't like to should all over people, but how much should we spend preparing for our 30 seconds? 30 minutes, okay? Now, I do professional speaking. I teach public speaking. I've actually been talking to a couple of colleges around here that want us to come teach some networking skills to them. So I talk a lot about preparation. And when it comes to public speaking, 30 minutes for 30 seconds. An hour per minute you're in front of people is the general rule of thumb that you want to look for. How many of you spent more than 2 minutes preparing this morning? Awesome. 6 of you. All right. So what we want to do is upgrade that level. And let's think about what in the world can we do inside of 30 minutes to find that. Well, let's go back and pick on her because we already have, and she's already smiling, and it's all good. Even though you can't see behind the mask, she's smiling. I see it in her eyes. What is the name of one real estate agent that you'd like to be connected with?
I don't know specifically.
Okay.
Because there's so many real estate agents.
Yes, there is.
But there's only a handful maybe that want the best for their
Awesome.
clients.
So there's a great determiner right there because she started with there's so many. And I was going to say, are they all created equal? Do you all know a crappy real estate agent? Now, I'm not here to pick on them, all right? That's not the point either. I trained real estate and mortgage professionals all over the country for years. That was my world. So I really get into this conversation. That's why I wrote this one down specifically so we could have a talk about it. But when it comes down to it, you're in the business, Jeannie. Are there real estate agents who are not great? How many percentage-wise would you guess?
Do I really have to answer that?
You have a great one here. She's not naming names, but is there what percentage you think
I would say 80%.
are not great?
Correct.
Did you hear that number? That means there are 80% of the people she doesn't want their name. Think about that for just a second. How many of you ask for referrals that you don't want the majority of the people who are out there? You only want a handful of the people that you actually do want. Now, it's your job to give us that name. Otherwise, guess what you get? The 80% maybe. And it's not who you wanted in the first place. That's why you qualified that right after saying, there's only a handful that I want to do business with. All of us. Is that true for all of us? Yeah. Anytime somebody tells me, I'll work with anybody. I'm like, anybody? What about my broke uncle that doesn't have 2 nickels to rub together? You do not want to work with Uncle Mike. Okay? Now, I love Uncle Mike, but he's broke and he's ridiculous. And you do not want to spend time. It's a massive waste for anyone in this room to do any business with Uncle Mike. Because he doesn't have money to pay you. Don't tell me anybody. Because otherwise you get broke Uncle Mikes, right? So who do you want to do business with? That's your determining factor. This is your time spent to do it. Here's what I do know. I have a button in front of my desk because I do a lot of Zoom meetings, and the button is the easy button from Staples, right? You hit the button and what does it say? That was easy, right? If you hit the easy button for the people in this room, guess what they will do? That was easy. They write down a name. Now they have something to do. Otherwise, when they leave here, what did they do? Nothing for you, right? They're going to go work their business. But if you make it easy to go, oh, I can go out and find Joe's a Sushi CPA. Now you have something to do. Maybe Joseph is your neighbor. Maybe he's a family member. Maybe he's a friend of a friend. Will you now reach out to them? Yeah, because you genuinely want to help people, right? That's another advanced training that we call generating referrals, where we should all spend an hour of our week going out and finding referrals for people. That's a process we do in BNI. But when it comes down to it, you give us something to write down. Now we can do something about it. There are only 3 of you who are going to have me work for you this week. Because guess what I do? I go back and type their name in LinkedIn. Who's connected to them? Am I already connected to them? I have like 7,000 personal connections on LinkedIn. There is very rarely anyone that name comes up that I do not have a second or a first connection with when it comes to people that are asked for. So just like that, now I go, do I know this person? Who's connected to them? I call them and say, hey, my friend, Jeannie would like to be connected to, right? And I say, the person that you're connected. How can I make that happen? They tell me and I go, there you go. And you get a referral. Pretty simple, right? But that's the plan of action. That's work. How long did it take you to come up with the name of this person you want to be introduced to?
She was searching sushi joints.
Not long, but you know who you want to be connected to. That's the difference. Right now, right, and I'll put you on the spot just because I know you can handle it. Who do you say? You say you want to be connected with a lot of people who want. Who specifically do you want to be connected to? Yes.
I feel like we are a bunch of professionals in this group that have been doing marketing for a while. The referral that I give you is going to be quality.
Yes.
If it is anybody that it's going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah.
And when I hear it, I do write it down.
Yeah.
I know a lot of property managers. I'm looking for somebody new that maybe is in your portfolio. I know, like Brendan, for instance. He probably does a lot of business with, property managers. He probably has somebody who's good that he likes to work with. The company pays well.
So I'm going to pause you right there and ask you, how do you know who he's connected to?
Because I've heard him talk, because we've done a trade group.
Are you friends on LinkedIn or social media?
No.
That's step 1. All of you connect with each other. Step 2, go find the property managers he's connected to on LinkedIn. Now ask for that person. Now you get a referral. Does that make sense? That's a different way of looking at it, right? Strategically planning for your business. Because you can say anyone, and I go, don't know anyone. But you say, Bob Smith at Smith, right? Now I can go Bob Smith in Google. Boom, picture shows up. Not Bob Smith, because that's pretty random. But you tell us the name of a business, and you talk about like what Jeannie did, and I go, boom, I can look that up. There's the name of the person, how I connect with them. My friend Jeannie would like to talk to you. Pretty simple. And she puts the easy button for us. If you want us to work for you, be specific. Otherwise, you're going to get nothing. Or you're going to get not quality people, the 80% that we don't want. Now, by the way, this whole purpose was not to say that 80% of real estate agents suck. That's not the point of this presentation. It was just the point of getting to where we need to get to. But when it comes to being specific, can you all ask for the name of one person specifically? There are some of you saying yes. There's others of you who are not sure. What about the others of you? What if you're looking for the one client? She could just want to do the mortgage of the one person, but how is she going to know the name of that person? That's not necessarily the best use of her time. She wants referral partners who can feed her business over and over. All of us around the room have referral partners who can feed us over and over. Make 80% of your weekly asks one of those people.
But if we do want a specific client, like in my industry, if I know a big client that I want, that's specific too.
Yeah. Do you know the name of the person there?
I can look it up.
That's exactly what it takes, right? I can look it up. I can figure it out. That's the half-hour prep time for all of us.
I had a question. This time of year, I get flooded.
That's my time.
What I've been trying to do is have everybody know what to say, because they're going to hear so much.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of asking for a specific person, I'm trying to think of how to make sure everybody, when they're out there, know what to say.
There are times and cycles where we got enough and others when we don't. When you're in the cycle up, that's when you say, here's some public service announcement types to get the conversation and know how to say things, because you don't want more calls in right now. But then when it's low time, she's going to ask for specific people. We all have those cycles in our life. That's why I don't judge and say, oh, this was good, this was bad. It's like, depends on what's going on in your business, whether you need that or not.
So what do you say to the people that are trying to capture, like, you know, all of the people that need X service? Like for me,
You'll never catch them.
Right.
That's what I say. You will only get the one that needs it now, that you have a name that we can help you with. Because once you say a name, now others of us go, but I have another buddy that does, would this work? You're like, yes, of course, right? But if you don't start me thinking, I don't get it.
My business is retail.
Yeah.
And pretty much everybody is my customer from a brand new car to a 30-year-old car. And we see probably 60, 70 customers a day. So it's very hard to just pick out one name.
But is there one name of somebody who can send you 10 cars a week?
I didn't know that Jeremiah.
Yes, you do. Go find out the name of the other guy who owns another auto glass company and now ask for that connection. That's exactly what we're talking about, is you need another Jeremiah and then you need another, right? And it's like we all need those. That's what we use this room for. So I would just really encourage you that as you go through your weekly presentation, next week, I hope half of this room comes up with the name of somebody they want to be introduced to. If not, you're wasting more opportunity. Doesn't mean that you're not getting great referrals and you're getting great processes and getting great results from BNI. That's the cherry on top is, what if half of your weeks you got the person you wanted? That's 25 referrals of exactly the person you want. That's a good idea to shoot for. Otherwise, you get 0 out of 0. So hopefully you can spend some time practicing, putting it into play so that you go, I gave people a plan of action for this week. I'm Spencer Reynolds, BNI Tampa.